The CINO Legacy Podcast, we have some guests today, James and John. Newer generation guy and older generation guy.
Yep.
And they're going to be sharing their thoughts on crypto and CINO in particular. James, you're wallet holder number 8, right?
I am number 8.
I've been dying to hear the story.
All right. So the long story short, so my wife is looking on Facebook, and all of a sudden I believe it was March 20th, if I'm going to guess.
Yep.
And it was probably maybe around noonish time. And she says, she texts me. She's like, Ryan's making a crypto coin. And I'm thinking to myself, Ryan's making a crypto coin. I'm like, what's that about? I said, all right, got to find out. So Ryan and I, short history, our children have been friends and schoolmates for probably 22 years, in which case we've really known each other most of those years.
Yep.
We definitely have a history of stories, including almost blowing ourselves up one day.
Remember that?
I do. The firework display at your
display that
house.
went totally wrong.
Yeah. You have tens of thousands of these firework things in these containers, and one spark gets into one container, and they all went off, and everyone was just running for their lives.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it looked like
stuff.
the opening scene of like an action movie.
It really did.
It's awesome.
I have pictures,
Yeah.
so we're good.
We'll have to give him to Michael so he can put them in there to show what we're
So
describing.
needless to say, my wife is letting me know, and I'm like, what's going on? And so I give Ryan a call. Ryan, what's going on? He's like, crypto. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I was in the bathroom and I was taking a shower, and he's like, and I was just coming up with as far as this idea where, there's parts of my world in my profession where, I'm dealing with things that are complicated, referring to the transferring of payments. Okay. Whether I'm getting money, whether it's from places overseas, whether it's, I'm waiting for a check to come in, I'm waiting for a check to clear, I'm waiting for this and that and the other thing. And he just really got to the point where he's like, he's like, we've been in crypto. I've been in since 2021. He's been in even much earlier than me. I've learned stuff from Ryan about it. And in the same turn, the one thing that's easy about it is it's readily and easily transferable. Mm-hmm. And it can just really appeal to taking a lot of the negatives of your formal payment system of dealing with checks, dealing with cash, dealing with bank transfers, dealing with foreign exchange rates. Sometimes as far as with, SWIFT systems and stuff like that, it can take even days for you to be able to get your money. Rates can even change while you're waiting, while someone pays and someone receives and so on. So, he's telling me all about this, and he's like, I really think, this might end up working. And he's like, I want it to be for my industry, which this doesn't exist in. It's really opening the doors. It's ground level. And, I'm hearing what he's saying, and I'm agreeing with what he's saying. But the bottom line is that I know this man. I've known him for a long time. I know him very well. And I put my money with the man. I really did.
Thank you.
And
thank you for saying that.
It's just I don't even remember a time in my life I've ever seen him fail, and at least not put 1,000% effort into making something work. And usually when he decides he wants to do something, he does it.
I appreciate that.
So, again, that was the no-brainer part for me, and it was easy. So, I had some cash flow that was working, and I, invested day one, and I moved some crypto around that was doing nothing and invested again in day one and day two and day three. And then I've been just, temporarily putting stuff in periodically when I have a little extra to float in there. And, the first month was it was incredible. I mean, I couldn't.
I remember.
For weeks, I couldn't even sleep. I mean, it was like, you're like looking at your Phantom account or your this account or whatever. Yep. And the number was just, suddenly I'm like, Mary Beth, my wife, I'm like, honey, I said, we only made, $380,000 today. Oh, honey, we lost $267,000 today. Oh, today was a good day. It was a $758,000 day. Oh, we lost $950,000 in the last 2 hours or whatever the case may be.
Numbers we've never never routinely talk about.
Not for me. Like, definitely not for me. That didn't happen. And, I mean, there was a point at 22 cents where, I was a multimillionaire. It's like now it's down to 4 cents or so, which I'm not quite a millionaire anymore. But, considering what my investment was, I don't look at it the fact that, millions of dollars went away that was really not mine to begin with. Until such time as you would cash it, is it real? Is it tangible? And it's cash in your hand? It's not real. But the process of it, where you're looking at this and you're seeing these numbers and you're seeing these numbers, I don't look at it as the fact that, wow, 3x $1 million came out of the account. I'm looking at, I still have this amount in my account.
Absolutely.
I'm
still winning.
I'm still winning. I'm winning well,
Yep.
and that's the magical part about the whole thing. And I honestly believe that, it has true potential. It needs adoption. It needs acceptance. And if all those things kind of happen, it can go anywhere.
There's no reason why it's not going to happen.
Anything.
It just takes time.
Agreed. You're changing a whole entire industry. I mean, this is going to take time. Bitcoin's, I think it was 112 or whatever when I, 1,000 when I looked last night. And granted, it was a 7-cent coin 16 years ago. So
Right.
who's to say, 10, 15 years from now, we're all...
This is $100,000.
We have, right, that's good. We have our villas in God knows where.
all over.
Our communal properties, if all goes well, right? But it was, I bet on the guy. I really did. It was just, I just known him so well, and I know he's successful. He really is. He's aggressive, and he's competent, and he's smart, and he's creative. And, I was 2 minutes into the conversation I was in. So,
and plus, this is where the world's going right now.
I mean,
like with cryptocurrency.
Absolutely. With all currency. It's all going digital one way or another.
I truly believe there will be no cash. I mean, it may be, there's going to be blockchain that's going to be running a lot of how we pay each other and do different things.
Mm-hmm.
It might be your fingerprint, it might be your eye socket, it might be, something of that nature where, a handprint. I mean, who knows, where it's going. But it's all going to be run behind the scenes with blockchain technology.
I agree.
And crypto just runs that. It does. It's just the fact. And, there was a time when everything was cash, and then people, they tried to come out with credit cards. And credit cards, what's a credit card? I'm keeping my cash, So now I guess this is,
the next credit card. It's funny you bring up the credit card because we were at the golf outing yesterday.
Right.
And Dennis, who's 10 years older than me, he's your age, in his 60s, he was trying to explain to some of the older participants that, do you remember when they issued credit cards and people were trying to convince you to give your cash for this piece of plastic, and everybody was like, no, we're not using that. What is that? This is cryptocurrency in the modern world is the new credit card, right? So you guys, all you've known is credit cards. We remember a time when you would go to the bank and they would actually stamp a passbook. There was no digital anything.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would put money in and you would get a stamp on a book.
Yeah, it was like
that's how you did your banking, with a passbook.
It was one of those stamps where you can wind the
Exactly.
date on it.
Yep.
So there seems to be a disconnect with your generation and cryptocurrency. This is what I'm starting to notice.
Absolutely. I think the 60-somethings are having a hard, I don't want to say having a hard time or don't know, because there are some people that know and some people that believe and understand. And some people who are like, you know what? I don't have enough time to recover from a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 bad investment, because they're getting ready to retire soon.
It's true.
So they're like, no, I'm going to stick to what I know. I'm not ready to do this. We don't need this. It's been working fine for the last 40 years, 50 years. Well, it's changing. We just have to, I don't want to say convince them, because there's nothing to convince. I think we have to educate older people, younger people, people who are not computer savvy. I still get questioned, where is it? What's it backed by? I can't touch it, so I don't believe it. It's not tangible. So I think we were going to talk. I think I want to do an education series on teaching people what crypto is and what it's backed by and what it's used for and how it works. I mean, right now we use Zelle and Venmo and Cash App and all these other companies. We're literally doing the same thing we do with crypto with digital currency. The banks move the money around instead of it being decentralized, and we move the money around, the people, right? So I think we're going to work on that going forward. We're going to have an education series.
And that might help, and that system might all change soon.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah,
Swift,
absolutely.
Swift is old and looking to be retired, and
Yep.
sometimes it takes days or whatever, and you're
Yep.
dealing with all kinds of fluctuations and stuff. And
Yeah.
crypto can do stuff thousands of times a second and at
Yep.
millipennies on the dollar.
And it's all public ledger, right? The
Right.
public
Yeah, we're
has
gonna-
access to see every transaction. It's all
Yep.
it's all there out in the open. So I think it's great. You know,
You can't buy it, sell it, or even move it without there
Somebody
being
knowing.
some kind of
and
trace.
and I'll tell you what,
permanent.
there's people out there watching.
Oh, of course
There's
they
people out there watching all the top wallets. What's this guy doing? What's that guy? Because I mean, there's right 95% of the meme coins out there are shit, right? So there's people out there looking for the rug, looking for the scam, looking. You know, I almost want to say the conspiracy theorists, but they're right because it happens. We're obviously not doing that. Our coins are locked, and you know we've said that hundreds of times. We're sitting tight. You know,
Well, to be fair, I'm not locked, but I'm also sitting tight.
right. That's fair. I mean, we're here to be transparent. You know,
John, how old are you?
I am 21. I
21.
just turned 21 in April.
All right, so you're part of the younger generation.
I am.
Okay, what
I
are
am.
their thoughts on crypto?
You know, it's kind of, you get a lot of different, you know, opinions from my generation. One of the main things that I see is the big issue of not knowing. And the younger generation, they don't want to spend the time to research this kind of stuff, you know?
yeah,
And
it's instant gratification, right?
It's
I want
instant
instant knowledge,
gratification.
instant.
And that's
hype.
the thing about the meme coins. You know, I know a lot of kids my age that they're really into the meme coins, right? And I don't think they're really looking at it the right way because they see our coin, they say, oh, well, it's on Phantom Wallet. Must be another meme coin, you know? But I kind of see the meme coins now as more of a gamble than it is
they're
actually an investment.
Right.
And that's what a lot of the kids I feel like are doing these days, like how they're using crypto. They're putting, you know, small amounts and gambling on that. You know, they'll make instant money. And that's just not the case, you know.
Not with CINO. This
Not
is
with
a
us.
long term. We're trying to change the industry. This is even though we created it on Pump Fun and we use that platform. That platform does have a lot of degenerates on it who are just looking to get over on people.
You see Tickcoin,
Yeah.
fart coin.
All these
you
kind
know,
of
it's-
nonsense
and
things,
they're,
you
and,
know?
they're, and they're dumping like
Oh yeah,
all
and
the time.
they don't last 10 minutes. You know, we're 6 months in.
I was watching it today on Phantom Wallet. I was just on there just watching all of them crash. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like it almost gives youngsters the ability to go get that casino high, that gambling high,
it's
playing
literally
blackjack
like, you
or
know,
roulette.
betting
You know,
on sports.
Well, I mean, a
which
lot of those coins
kids
don't
do.
have any utility either. I mean, they're
don't.
they're
They're-
baseless.
they're
I mean,
all hype.
It's just nothing. It's just someone that's trying to bid really early. You know, the day it's created, or the 10
hour.
minute, the hour, or even the minute. I mean, you can go onto Phantom and actually start looking for coins that have been on for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
5 minutes,
Yep.
2 minutes. And then 30 minutes later, any money that you put in, if you didn't take it out in 30 minutes, it's gone.
Yeah, somebody else has pulled it.
Yeah, they
you know.
pulled it.
We haven't done that. You know, we're here pushing, fighting the marketing battle, every battle that you can fight on building this business, we're fighting it. And,
Well,
I
you're
said
not-
it the other day, we haven't taken a penny out of this token yet. We keep putting money into it,
Yeah, I
you know,
see
with
that.
marketing and, adding to the liquidity pool weekly. And we're doing everything we can to build this business.
All right, so this is basically just a breakdown of what crypto is, and then I want to get your thoughts on it, okay?
Yep.
All right, so crypto equals digital money. Instead of holding paper dollars in your wallet or numbers in your bank account, crypto is money stored on a public record called the blockchain. The blockchain is a digital ledger. Think of it like the world's most secure checkbook, where every transaction is recorded permanently and can't be erased. There's a limited supply. Unlike dollars, which the government can print at will, which is inflation, crypto has a fixed supply. For CINO, there are 1 billion coins max. No more could ever be made. Instant payments, like swiping your debit card but faster and global. You could send $100,000 in seconds across the world. That's basically what you guys were saying.
Yeah,
It's
I mean-
exactly what I was saying. I mean, it's really so people accept cash and give cash and pay with cash and receive cash because they see the value in the paper that's printed on it. Okay.
But it's faith-based.
Of course
It's
it is.
just a piece of cotton paper that's...
We all agreed on it.
Yeah,
Right.
we accept that that's what we're using.
I mean, I was born, and the first thing that I ever saw with money was dollars or change or
Right.
whatever. And I've now, through my lifetime, accepted it where I can give someone $1 for something, or they can give $1 for me, and I'm like, wow, I have this dollar
Right.
for
Now it has value
Now it
because
has
people are
value.
giving, right? Like I've always said, they're trading sweat equity or labor
right.
for that paper, the belief in that paper.
So I could be wrong about the facts, but a little while ago, someone had stated to me that probably about 1% of the planet has invested any kind of money in crypto. And if, in fact, crypto is where the world is headed, which I truly believe it is, at least in my personal opinion, when the other 99% get on board,
Oh boy.
the 1% who have already been here have the opportunity where, they're not going to have to work very hard for the rest of their lives.
I don't think the next 5 generations of those people are going to have to work at all if they choose not to.
True.
That's the generational
yeah.
wealth that we speak of often.
I could be wrong. $4.1 trillion total in cryptocurrency value right now, and that's 1% of the
globe.
world.
Yep.
So you do the math.
I mean, you know what? For you guys that are younger, we hear it a lot. I wish I would have invested in Apple when it was new. I wish I would have invested in Google when it was new. Do some research and add a ticker when you make the video. Post what Apple was trading for when it just came out. Post what Google was trading for
They were
when
penny
it first came out.
stocks.
They were penny stocks.
Really?
Penny stocks.
Fractions of a penny.
Yeah, they were nothing because they were revolutionizing an industry just like we're doing, right? If I told you, if you spent 4 cents today, in 20 years, that 4 cents would be worth $1 million. How many 4 cents would you invest? Like, honest, that's an honest question.
As many 4 cents.
As
I
many
had.
4 cents as you can come by. But if you had $100, $200, $500, $1,000, and you just bought CINO and let it ride for 20 years, generations of people will be taken care of. More generational wealth than you could ever imagine. It's just factual. It's going to happen.
Let me buy some right now.
Yeah, do it. Do it. So
The ease of buying CINO.
Yeah, it's literally just a couple clicks on my phone.
Right. Once you got it.
once you have it
all
set
set
up,
up.
it's very simple to do. It's easy. You can get it done. You just have to do the research, right? To figure out the
Exactly.
few steps to set up your account, do your security, make sure everybody knows who you are and you're not a fraudster. Then the transactions go through very easily.
Now it's a breeze.
Yeah, now it's a breeze.
I just bought $50.
Did you? Good for you, man.
In that first month, that
Yeah,
was
good.
like
I'm glad you recorded that. It literally took you seconds to buy $50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
Great. That's great. I'm gonna check the deck screen
You
now
can,
and make
I'll
sure
show,
that
I'll
was
show you right now. I'll show you
I'm just kidding, man. I believe you.
Please do.
How did you feel on that first month?
When did you hear about CINO? I want to hear your story.
Oh man. So when was it? When you were coming back from your Africa trip?
Well, I did it the week before Africa.
Before Africa, I don't think I heard about
Yeah.
it until afterwards. And yeah, he literally came up to me in the kitchen one day, and he goes, "Hey man, download this app. Like I made a meme coin." I was like,
All right.
okay, And before this, I have not invested, put any money into any sort of Bitcoin, anything.
Not
like
even
that.
Dogecoin?
Nothing. I was never into crypto, and I still I'm not very knowledgeable about it, but I'm much more knowledgeable than I was before, and I understand it much more now. But it was very surprising, and it was very shocking to watch it go from literally a fraction of a penny to all of a sudden,
Went through the roof.
it's like, kids my age, when they see that type of money, they're like, holy shit, sorry, but
Yeah.
even getting my first paycheck, I read that and it's like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen this much money in my life before. It's a very big step in life when you start, receiving that kind of financial stability for yourself. You don't have to rely completely on your parents or whoever it may be to, get yourself
Yeah. You got that back. in you.
get yourself to that next step of, buying a house, buying a car. And I almost feel like that's kind of a issue with the younger generation these days, is that they don't really consider where their money is going and how they're
Yeah.
spending it.
I think that's not just the younger generation, because when I was your age, I didn't think about my future either. You thinking about your future comes
What would you have done with it?
now.
Yeah, at his age, at 21.
Oh, I probably would have blown it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hookers and cocaine. You know.
I'm not saying every.
I mean,
I'm not saying every young person is like that, but me myself, I worry a lot about my future, or at least, recently I've started to.
Damn, and you're mad young too.
Exactly,
You're
but
just
you
getting
you
started.
start to think about it, and it's like, well, when my parents were this age, they were already moving into their first house, and nowadays you don't really see that very often.
Kids don't move out until they're 30. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but everything's ridiculously
It is.
expensive,
Everything is, and that's
you know?
because of inflation.
It's
that's
just-
because of
it's
governments just printing
insanity.
more money
That's
or whatever.
facts.
it's insane. Yeah, it is insane. How high prices have become.
I remember.
for simple things.
yeah,
too. It's
absolutely.
It's,
Just gasoline, just stuff that you need to.
no, even groceries. It's insane. You literally can't. Be on your own. You almost need to have two incomes to be, move out of your parents' house. It's crazy. But, I'm getting to that point where it's like, you really got to start considering, like, how am I going to fend for myself after all these years? And, looking at this coin now, doing my research and,
A little breathing room.
yeah, it's it feels like a sort of stability. I have a sort of stability now.
It takes the worry out.
It takes the worry out.
Remember I was
And,
talking about that?
Yeah.
Being successful, it's not about what I have compared to what you have. It's not worrying about tomorrow or next week.
And that's a good feeling.
That's being, in my opinion, that's what being successful is. That I'm not spending my days worrying about where X, Y, Z is going to come from. When you have accomplished, like everybody's definition of success is different. You determine your success. I determine my success. You set your own goalpost, right? So if you get to your goalpost and you're not worried about tomorrow, you win. You won.
Yeah.
Enjoy your life. All that energy you spend worrying, you can focus on better things. So I remember I came home after Africa and I got all the kids together and I said, okay, I'm going to give you some of this token that I created. You cannot sell it. You have to hold it.
Yeah.
Not until I tell you.
that was
And
one
the kids,
promise.
I remember they come home every day and they're like, is this real? Is this real?
Yeah,
and
then my
I
friends-
remember, right?
my friends start seeing it and they're like, "Holy crap, dude! Like, you can move out. You can do whatever you want with this money." But I stuck with my gut. I know what I'm doing here. I'm not backing out, and I hope in the long run that it really does pay off, and I know it will.
Yeah.
I know it will.
95% of the people that I showed my CINO to were saying, if you don't fucking sell.
Right, because
You know,
the
like-
majority of people in America, I don't know about the world, but I just know the majority of people in your generations, they see a large amount of money, and the first thing they think about is, what can I buy with this? Not, what can I do to make this work for me
me.
and the rest of my family?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? It's what can I buy as opposed to what can I do to make this so I don't have to work anymore.
Well, that's the whole mindset that
Right.
you're
Yeah,
talking
we have to
about.
get away from on the what can I buy, because
it's greed.
nobody cares what sneakers you wear. Nobody cares what jeans you have on. Nobody gives a shit.
It's nice to have those things.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't make you a better
really
person.
doesn't matter at all. It's greed, and
Yeah.
it's unattractive.
Yeah, I remember talking with some of you guys. You guys were all sitting around the table, and I was like, "Do you guys realize you have more money set aside than most adult Americans have
Very
put
true.
away? Like, if this just continues to trend, you will be set forever.
Yeah.
Just hold.
Hold.
Right? Time in the market is definitely better than time in the market.
Yeah.
So
6 months old?
When you absolutely need it and you have to have it to like gun to your head, kind of have to have it.
Right.
It's there.
Right,
I
exactly.
mean, ultimately, but the idea is it's never going to appreciate unless you keep it as
Exactly.
it is.
It's never
It
going to
has-
appreciate unless you
because
hold it.
it gets to a point where you'd like to think that later down the road, if the appreciation is continuous and it's adopted and it's utilized and it's considered, it becomes like a form of just, hey, instead of handing someone $1, you're handing them a CINO. Okay?
CINO.
A
We're trading
CINO,
C-notes
right?
here.
And then, but for the amount of money that you could possibly need, it could actually make more money than what you would ever need to withdraw.
exactly.
Like it just becomes an endless amount of revenue.
Consistently compounding on
You
more
don't-
than
you
more than
don't-
you can
you
spend,
don't
as
take
long
a-
as you live reasonably.
Right. You don't take $100,000 out. You take $1,000 out, and then when you need another 1,000, you take another 1,000.
Exactly.
And because that other 98,000 coins or whatever the case may be, or dollars worth, could actually be making you more than that $1,000 or so that you even
took
took
out.
out in the first place.
So then it's really generational wealth because it's self-generating. It's making more than you're consuming, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
So it's definitely a win-win.
It's a win-win for
I mean, it's
everyone.
almost
Win-win for everybody.
It's almost a principle I used to tell my kids. So when oh, I forgot about the table. Sorry about that. We were talking about who's the Microsoft guy?
Microsoft
Bill
is
Gates.
Bill
Bill
Gates.
Bill Gates hit 100 million or 100 billion or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
some
at
crazy
point.
number.
And so I'm driving with my kids and they're in the back of the car and I'm like, so we were just talking about whatever. And I said, this guy could never spend his money. And my kids were like, you could totally spend the money. I said, you have $100 billion. I said, you cannot spend that money. There's just no way to spend it. And it's like, and they're insistent. Yes, I can. I said, kids, shoot, tell me what you're buying. Okay. It's like, I'm going to buy $1 million house. Okay, great. Now you have 999,999, or whatever. And
Right.
it's like, so what do you do next? I said, oh, by the way, you just made $56 million in interest at like 4%.
At 4%, right? Just sitting in the bank.
It got to the point where we were doing the math, and I think he was making probably like you'd have to spend almost $15 million a day every day just to spend the interest that was being
Right.
earned on
Yeah.
that money. I mean, could you imagine? Like $15 million, you would have, say you woke up one day and you hung out in bed and you hung out with the wife and you went and you had McDonald's.
Now I
or
have to
whatever.
spend-
Now I got to spend $30
Now I have to spend $30 million today.
just to spend the interest. I mean,
Yeah.
the principal never goes away. And that's what he's talking about. He's like, if you can, you always try to keep that principal as high as you can because that is where you have the potential to
Right.
continuously make the interest.
That's what's making your money.
And if you can live on the interest, you're going to be good.
Absolutely. That's
Because
that's generational
that's
wealth.
the generational wealth. That's how that, that principle ends up going, to my kids or to my family or to whatever, or, whoever needs it. So
Do you have older friends as well that are close to your age?
then me,
What do they think of crypto and CINO?
most of my friends, it's funny. I almost have a split down. My closest friends. I have a split down the middle. Half of them will not touch it, and half of them are in. And and they both have reasons. But the ones that don't touch it, have done very well in the stock market. They were buying, all as far as these, Googles and Apples and everything like that when they were, somewhat worthless. And I would say half of them are on board and half of them are not. And it's not that the half that are not don't necessarily believe in it, but they are much more stock invested people. They've been, investing in stocks literally since their 20s and their 30s. And, they bought into, all of these, big companies when they were, again, pennies on the dollar, and they've all done very well for themselves. And they bought their homes and they've sold their homes and they've bought new homes and they've sold those homes, and they've done really well for themselves where they truly feel that they don't need to consider the risk of going into cryptocurrency, where other friends, see it, have experienced, maybe highs and lows. But, if you really look into the information and you do a lot of research, I believe you're able to filter out what is good to be investing in and what is not.
Correct.
I agree.
Correct. Yeah, you just have to do a little bit of research, and you can weed out the garbage from the
Agreed.
gems.
I mean, the key thing is, you want your crypto to have utility. You want a reason for why it exists, rather than as far as just because someone put a funny name on a picture or something like that, and then everyone gets all gung ho about it for a day or two, and then 90% of the people that invested in it end up losing their money because the 5 people on top just bail. But there's you've had Bitcoin going for 15, 16 years, where people invested 7 cents, 10 cents, $1, $5, $10. And think about even all that time. It's 15 years ago, I buy 100 Bitcoin at 50 cents a piece.
Exactly.
And say when it got to $1,000, was I really keeping it at $1,000?
No.
I might have gotten rid of it at
Right.
$4,
Right.
or whatever. Hey, I just
Hindsight is always
I just made
20/20,
a few
right?
$100 or
Right.
a couple of $1,000. I mean, who knew you were going to see this thing turn into
Right.
$100,000?
Yeah, it was uncharted territory. It's still uncharted territory.
Correct. I mean, but you go to the list of crypto coins, and if you stick with the top bunch, you're probably more likely to have less risk involved in the highs and the lows than when you're at 10,420th valued coin, and then you're just like well, maybe it might work, maybe it might not.
Right. Exactly.
Importance is the utility, in my opinion,
Yep.
and it's what I actually really look for when I'm considering investing in crypto.
Right. What is it going to be used for? And is it being used? And the potential that it's going to show.
And I honestly think CINO, and I could be wrong, is really outside of a lot of the influences that changes the value of crypto.
I agree.
Because in your industry, it's more specific to your industry, for starters. I mean, that's the goal here,
Yep.
as far as to make it where, you can, as far as exchange, wealth of
Yep.
some kind of form of currency back and forth at an ease where it's minimal cost. It's very, very easy. You're dealing with very large transaction numbers. I mean,
Correct.
if you're thinking about the mechanics and the planes and the gases and the fees and this and that, you're not talking dollars. You're talking
Right.
tens of thousands,
Hundreds
hundreds
of
of thousands, millions of dollars,
Yep.
and you just can't do that, normally with simpler forms of exchanges. And, when someone's going to pay their, maintenance contract, it really has nothing to do with whether or not Israel bombed Iran.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's outside of the influence.
Right.
So,
World events shouldn't affect cryptocurrency, because it's not like, if you look at an oil refinery gets blown up or burned down, that's going to affect the amount of gasoline that reaches the pumps, right? So that follows supply and demand.
Absolutely.
The wars that a war that happens between Israel and Palestine, it did affect the cryptocurrency, but only because people reacted like it's a stock. That war does not affect the cryptocurrency at all, right? There's no refinery
It's
that burnt
digital.
down. There's no gas that's not showing up. Just people get nervous, they back out, wait till the dust settles, and then they come back in. Just sit tight.
Yep.
It's not a stock. There's no refineries burning down. Just relax. Everything's going to be fine.
And think about all the time the stock market, drops 10, 20, 30%. And then, within minutes or days or weeks or a month
comes right
or a
back.
couple of months.
And it's better.
And it's better. It
Right.
always seems to, as far as where, like, I see that it dips and it dips and it dips. And then it goes back up. And then it'll dip and it'll dip and dip. But it never really dips lower than, like, the prior dip.
Exactly.
So there's that little chunk of investment that's now yours. And then it goes up, 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 up. Then
Yep.
it dips, but it
Yep.
never dips below that next dip, and
Right.
so on. And it's just, you're always getting a little chunk. So a year later, if you look at the Dow Jones or whatever,
Yep.
it's up 10%. It's up 10%.
Yep. It
It's
keeps-
up
it keeps growing.
every year.
And that's what I always recommended when we look at crypto charts, is that if you look at it for the day, that chart's all over the place.
It could be.
And if you look at it for the week, it's a little better. Look at it for the year. You just want to make sure it starts here and ends here.
Stretch that.
Like
boy
if you're,
out
as
a
long as you're going in that direction, that's a good business model.
Yeah.
Watching it in a day and try to day trade. I'm not a day trader. I don't think, with the tax liability and stuff that you have on doing that. And I'm sure there's loopholes there somewhere, but I don't think that's as successful as long-term investments. For me, that doesn't That doesn't work for me. So it does for some, and I'm not knocking them, but it's just not. It's not a me sport.
And Sino can be turned into real dollars.
Absolutely. You definitely swap it back to Solana, right? Take that over to your exchange that your bank accounts are linked to, turn it back into US dollar token, Tether, have it come right back to your account. It's doable. There's no magic there. That's the easy part.
Do you think that's why a lot of the older people are kind of afraid because they don't know how to do that on their phone? They don't know how to.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. Like, how do I I buy this digital
What are the
currency.
steps?
I can't touch it. I can't see it. How do I get
It's there. I see the number
Yeah, but how do I get it?
into my hand.
Nobody talks. I mean, look, we're going to talk about that. We're going to do that. We're going to show people how to do that
Buy in,
process.
how to actually sell out.
Yep, I want to
whole
do the whole
process.
thing. I want people to know
So they
that this
know.
is legitimate.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely,
it's a good idea.
absolutely. We're gonna educate the masses.
All right.
On why crypto is not a scary, apparition
money.
out
It's
in
digital money.
cyberspace. Yeah, it's just
just like a stock.
assets moving around digitally. That's all.
And this has a purpose.
If you decided to, as far as sell, you could transfer something in Sino into cash. You'll have it within 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I think quicker than that, depending on your level of trading activity. But
Well, it depends on who it is that you get your you when you convert it to the, say, USDC ultimately, or whatever the case may be, who it is that you use that
Right.
now
Who are you
transfers.
dealing with?
Because once you make the transfer, it's now you're dealing back with the SWIFT system again
Exactly.
or whatever. And
Yep.
sometime it's time, but 24 to 48 hours.
yeah, you have the money in your
have that
account.
money in
You
your
have the dollars back in your account. It's totally doable.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
you'd need to give
That's so
yourself.
reassuring because as long as they know they have a way out whenever, wherever,
Right.
that should take the fear away.
Right.
Agreed.
Now I can invest.
Yeah, and usually when you have invested in mutual funds and stuff like that, and you take a piece out of that, you're usually waiting 5 days for that money to clear,
least.
for them to liquidate your stock or your asset, they get cash, and then they transfer that cash to you. You're usually waiting 5 days.
Half the time, if you go to put money in like Vanguard or something like that, they make you wait 7 days just to be able to use it in the first place.
Exactly.
I
Yep.
mean, never mind when you now convert it to cash, you can't pull
Yeah,
that
it's
cash right away.
Cryptocurrency is definitely faster as long as you follow all the steps, do all the security steps, make sure your identity is verified, all those things. It's definitely much faster.
How about those taxes, though?
Well, hopefully those go away. Those are a thing of the past.
Hopefully they-
Hopefully those are a thing of the past.
Hopefully, if you play, you have things to offset it with.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, let's see what the administration does when it comes to. Aren't they getting ready to sign the Genius Act or whatever? That's pretty much.
What is
moving
that?
through.
But
Could you explain that? What is that?
I don't know all the details about it, but the Genius Act was, from what I understand, is the government authorizing Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, various cryptocurrencies, to be used for 401ks and open to regular banking.
financial
Yeah,
institutions
I'm sorry, financial institutions.
that were acknowledging as cryptocurrency holdings could be used as collateral,
correct.
is what I believe it was.
Right.
Is the government finally realizing that this isn't going anywhere and that they want their fair share?
Well, I think
They
they've
don't
realized that for a long time, and now they can't ignore
They
it
can't
anymore.
control it.
can't
That's
ignore
the
it.
thing, and they can't control
They
it.
cannot control it
Right.
because
Yeah.
they can't control the block.
Yeah, because, and that's another thing, like a lot of people don't understand, especially 60 somethings who are thinking about retiring or whatever. When it's not dollars, there is no tax. It's pretty much anonymous, right? Phantom Wallet is just started with an email address.
Really?
Yeah, when you started your
Oh,
Phantom
okay,
Wallet,
okay. I thought you
right?
were saying-
They
yeah.
asked you for an email address,
Yeah.
security
Oh, yeah, put
password
my
or
number
whatever.
and everything.
Your name's not there, your social security's not there. It's only when you go back to an exchange and go to dollars is when it becomes a taxable event. Right?
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
Yeah, because whoever you end up cashing it through, like for me, I use Coinbase, and I'll get a 1099 for
Correct.
any money that I transposed through Coinbase that I sent to my bank account.
right.
At that point in time, I summarize those things, and I'm not now obligated to see what it was that I received in payments and then offset that by what my cost was for the coin that was sold that represents that payment. And
Right.
the difference between the two would be considered your taxable income. If it's within a year, it's short term. If it's greater than a year, it's long term, and they're
Right.
taxed differently. But it's also offset by losses. If you have as far as crypto losses and stuff like that, you really need to, because the decentralized part of it, you are your own bank.
Right.
You
You have
need
to keep your own
You
records.
really need to keep detailed records of all your transactions when it really comes down to it. Now, the nice thing is a lot of these exchanges, when you buy something and or sell something, there's a list. If you go to the bottom you scroll down to the bottom of your CINO coin, you're going to see, and you hit see more, and you're going to see, and then you go and you click in there, and it will show how much coin you
bought,
how much
moved.
coin you sold. But the only thing that's weird about that is I found that, so if I bought something, say 6 months ago, and it went up, well, we'll say it was a 2-cent coin, and now it went to 5 cents. When I go, it'll show how much coin I bought, but it will now show me the value at the 5 cents,
Right.
not the number that I bought it at.
Right.
So that's really when you need to be keeping records at least a little bit, or as accurately as you can, when you're making these transactions at the time.
Yep.
Because if you're waiting a month or two, and
gonna
CINO went
forget.
from 0.0004 to 22 cents, suddenly the $10 that you bought is now worth $2,000 or
Yep,
whatever,
or
and,
more.
right? Correct. It's just so crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we will definitely educate everybody on all the aspects. Send us questions. If you have questions about how that all works, send them in. Email us. Go to the website. You can hit us up with email. We'll answer your questions. We'll put it on video, and we'll spell it all out.
All right. Yeah, I just want to ask John and James one more question.
Sure.
What do you think needs to happen with CINO, like the trajectory of it, and just in order for the value to go up? Like, what's your perception of that?
Adoption. It needs to be considered a useful tool in the aviation industry, and if it becomes a useful tool where people can both transfer monetary funds from one person to another at the greatest of ease, it'll happen. Because ultimately companies can pay their people with it. I mean, you'd have payroll ramifications and stuff that you'd probably have to consider, which is beyond my scope of work.
But it's a solvable problem.
It's a solvable problem. I mean,
Could it ever be a solid no, or is it a gray area? Or if it is a no, could it become a yes?
I'm sure there's some companies who are initially going to be like, nope, we don't want to do what we're doing. But I think the guy who says no, as he moves up the ladder or moves out of the company and the younger guys come and take over, that no will definitely become a yes.
It could, right? Because all of a sudden, if you have younger people that have more of an acknowledgement of how this stuff works and can see the value in it, the 70, 80-year-old owner, CEO, whatever, may not understand it and doesn't
Right.
mind, having it the way it is, but
Right. A lot of, people get comfortable being comfortable. A lot of companies don't like to change. This is the way we're doing it. This is the way we're making money. We're moving this direction. What do you mean you're going to revolutionize? It's fine the way it is. So
this has worked for us for the last
educating those
40
You're
people.
years.
making it easier, though.
Well, we are making it easier, but it's different. And a lot of people, remember, these people that we want to convince are busy all day long running their companies and doing their job already. So to find time to, hey, let me sit down and have a conversation with you. I don't have time. I have 10 minutes. I have 15 minutes. Great. I like it. I'll think about it. I'll get back to you.
Sounds like us.
Right?
So you could race them. Let's see who could pay each other $10,000 faster. Right.
That's a great challenge. Send me a check, and I'm going to send this. I'll send this back
Just
to you.
like that, and I'll tell
we'll see
you
how
exactly
fast
how
it
to
is.
turn that into dollars. Whoever is faster wins.
Yeah.
The 10,000.
So, I mean, we are going to educate the masses. I'm telling you.
Right.
I have a new goal.
One mass at a time.
Yeah. We're gonna focus on educating the people and showing everybody how this stuff works. I think that's the fastest way to adoption is through education. So
Yeah, if people have an understanding of how useful and easy it can be. I mean, and granted, you got to get it set up first. Once it's set up, it's ridiculously easy. It
Yep.
really is.
and not to we started this for aviation finance, right? Private aviation finance token. In the last 3 months, there's other businesses and industries who have been asking to use the coin. We have landscaping companies, we have barbers, we have
There's an
pizzerias.
electrician too. We got right?
What's that?
An electrician too.
We have an electrician who's willing to accept
We need
it.
a list of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to just go to the website and fill out the form. Yeah, I'll get to
So
it.
wait, when you
But
go
they're
to your
busy.
favorite, when you go to your favorite pizzeria, do you really pay in Sino?
Yes.
You've done that before?
Yes.
Okay, that's a first.
Yes, we buy pizza. I mean, think of.
What pizza place takes CINO?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you off air. So that pizza day with Bitcoin, there was a guy 7 or 8 years ago who bought 2 pizzas with 40 Bitcoin. What's 40 Bitcoin worth today?
I mean, it was
Well into the
$14 or
millions.
$16 back
well,
then.
Exactly.
right? So-
It was $14 or whatever, and some pizzeria guy said, "I'll take it." And the guy bought 2 pizzas with 40 Bitcoin, and what is 40 Bitcoin worth
I
today?
wonder where he's at now.
maybe that
He
guy,
was just
maybe,
interviewed not too long ago
Yeah,
because
maybe-
pizza every year they interview the guy.
Really?
Yeah,
maybe that guy sold at 1,000,
who knows? But
but he still made some money.
he made some money.
Yeah.
If I was to tell you, if this 4 cents will be worth $1 million or $100,000 in 20 years, how many 4 cents would you spend? As many as you can afford,
many as I could afford.
right? What are you waiting for?
$100,000 Sino.
Why not? If Bitcoin can do it, so can we. There's still no utility behind Bitcoin.
True.
There's no utility. It's just popular. Tell your friends about Sino. Make me popular.
And what do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree with the adoption of it. I really think it needs to just take that very next step because we've kind of weeded out all those day traders. It's reached a stability where we haven't really seen it jump or fall too great.
I kind of.
I really think,
Yeah, chart looks good.
yeah,
Nice
I
and
really
steady.
think it just needs to take that very next step in the process here where we get these, big corporations to finally trust us and notice us and, put in their investments. And I think that's when we'll really see it take a big step here. And, I've heard Ryan say he's talked to probably thousands of people by now about this thing. A lot of them are saying, why haven't we been doing this?
Right.
And I can see it in the future. I mean, I work for a utility company. I work for a power company. And, I can see this in the future, them using this. Crypto can be used in every aspect in our world.
Yep.
And, a big thing with the younger generation I see is Apple Pay. A lot of kids use Apple Pay for everything.
It's blockchain.
A lot of
Yeah.
kids don't even carry their wallets around anymore. You can have pictures of your car insurance, everything, all in your Apple wallet. We could have a crypto, and all you need to do is walk up to, a counter purchasing something at 7-Eleven. And scan your
accept
phone.
Sino.
Yep,
But
we accept
here's the
Sino.
thing to expand on what John's saying. That generation walks around with their wallet on their phone. What if you can walk around with your whole financial portfolio on your phone? What if you can buy a house from your phone? What if you can buy a car from your phone? You can't buy a car with Apple Pay, right? You can't buy a house cash with Apple Pay,
Crypto, you can.
but crypto you can. So what if you were able, not just Sino, all of them, walk around on your phone. Yep, I can pay that. I can pay this. I want a villa in Geneva. Pay that. It doesn't matter where you are. They've been building this global economy for years now, pushing global economy. Crypto's the global currency that will keep the global economy moving because there's no borders. There's no centralized banks telling you yes or no, or that exchange rate's not right. It's all decentralized.
It's instantaneous.
Yeah, it's
government
like within
can't
30
control it.
seconds, I can send $1 million across the world and it's done. I can get on an airplane with my total financial assets and go anywhere in the world. Establish routes, and all my assets are there. No governments are taking pieces of it, or like this. You worked for it. Why are we giving it away? I don't agree. So
They say time is money.
time is money. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I want to ask the community to congratulate my son, Ryan Alex Sino, and his fiance, Katie Bright. They just got engaged this weekend.
Congrats.
So you guys can find them on Instagram and stuff if you'd like to wish them congratulations.
Wow, that's big.
Welcome to the family, Katie, Ryan. Good choice.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So that's the biggest, I think, Big hug I can give both of them now
married.
is over the airwaves.
Kids getting married.
Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy? They were in preschool together, and now they're getting married.
They're getting married. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming, everyone.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you
Thank
for
you
your
for your
time.
support. Please, www.cinotoken.com. Visit the website, spread it, learn it. Check us out on the socials. We got TikTok. We have YouTube, Telegram, Discord. I don't even know what other ones. All of them. Check out our merch store. All the merch store proceeds go back to the liquidity pool. We have some items from the merch store on the TikTok shop. Visit those. Help us out. Thank you for your support, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.